What's up, guys? It's your girl, emcurl, here today at iHeartRadio, and I am so excited because I am joined by the insanely talented actor and unbelievable singer, Luke Evans. Luke, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
How are you doing? Feeling
I'm good. Yeah. I've had a good time in New York so far, so it's a little cold outside, but you know, it is January the whatever.
It always takes me a little longer to get warmed up literally, but I'm from the South, so I'm not used to the snow. Are you
You're
like
from Georgia, right?
Yeah, from Georgia.
Well, no, where I'm from can be quite cold as well, but
So
this
you're
is a
ready for
whole
it.
kind of different kind of cold, this place.
Now, we can talk about the weather all day, but we've got a lot to get into because I want to talk about your debut album, At Last. It is phenomenal. I've listened to it. It is so good. And I want to hear from you. What was this experience like bringing this project to life?
Well, firstly, thank you. It's very nice to hear
Of
that.
course.
Well, it's been a dream. I've wanted to make an album for a very long time. I started as a singer. Not a lot of people know that, but I was singing way before I was acting. My pipe dream was always wanted to be a recording artist, and I grew up around the heights of George Michael and Robbie Williams, and some very well-known boy bands and girl bands, and it was like that was my dream, but it didn't go that way. My career went somewhere else, and I was very happy with where I was in musical theater, and I went into straight plays and then into the movie career, which is sort of what gave me such an international profile, and sort of all of those things fed into how I then was able to record an album, because it was things like Beauty and the Beast where I actually got to sing on screen,
Right.
and then a lot of people was like, "Oh, actually, he can sing.
a minute,
he can
Gaston,
really
you're
sing,"
right.
And then I got to sing a few other times for high-profile things in the UK, and all of a sudden, I was approached by a record producer who I'd known for a long time, and he said, "Dude, there's a hole in the market for somebody like you who can sing like you, who loves to sing live, who can do that kind of thing. Let's present it to a label," and that's sort of how it happened. And the second I signed with BMG, we were in the studio within 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Oh,
and,
so you were like fully on board, jumping right in.
Yeah, but I was also shooting The Alienist in Budapest at the time, so I was having to
my
fly
God.
home on a weekend to record the album.
So you're a busy guy.
Yeah, it was a very busy year, but it was
Yeah.
very fun because the music world is very different to the film world. And I thought, this is going to be
Really?
fine. I'm going to be able to jump from one to the other. It's completely different.
What was like the biggest thing that surprised you about it?
Well, I guess the biggest thing is that it's just me. I'm on the road on my own.
Right, instead of
I'm
working
usually
with a
with,
group.
like a gang of actors that were in the movie with me. We're presenting a project that is ours together, whereas all of a sudden it's just me. It's me. My face is on the cover of the album. It's my voice, my project, my product, and I'm the one that has to go and pitch it and sing it and sell it. So
Yeah.
that was an interesting thing. But in a way also, I got to be myself, completely myself for the first time, because as an actor, we just put a mask on, and we play other people. And it's often people only see you as those characters, But all of a sudden, I'm singing from my heart, singing songs that have mattered to me and meant something to me all my whole life. And all of a sudden, it's like, this is me. This is my identity. So I found the whole thing incredibly refreshing and liberating.
That's so cool to hear you say that this album feels like you and these songs feel like you, because there's such a cool collection of songs there. I mean, we have Cher, Etta James, Pat Benatar. Walk me through that process. What did that look like for you, selecting those songs and picking something that was going to be a reflection of you?
It was difficult because the BMG were very free with me. They would just say, "Listen, go away. We're going to do a covers album." And I was like, "Yep, we're going to reimagine a lot of famous tracks." So I came up with a list of like 60-something songs, and then we had to reduce them to 12. And we were choosing them not really on who was singing them, but how we could reimagine the tracks. Because some tracks are very hard to reimagine. We tried a few, and it just didn't work. And then we got to 12 tracks, and then we looked at the tracks and realized that 80% of the tracks were sung by women.
I
famously
noticed that
sung
you
by
said
women.
that, yes.
And that was then where we realized we had a sort of a interesting theme going along with the album, is that most of them had never been covered by a man, and we were going to rearrange them and reorchestrate them and maybe slow the tempos down and strip them back to the bare essentials, make them more acoustic, or make them more even anthematic than they were the first time round. And all of a sudden you have a song that you know very well, but you're hearing it in a completely different way.
Right.
So that's sort of how it worked.
When you think about all of the songs in the album, the 12 you narrowed it down to, which one was the most challenging for you to sort of reimagine and create?
Well, the one I was least expecting to work was probably Cher's track, If I Could Turn Back Time, because that wasn't one I put on the list. I was like, I didn't even go near Cher's music. I was like, no. And I was
So
like,
that one just came up
Is this-"
later to happen.
One of the record producer said we should try this, and trust me, I'm going to rearrange this, and you can listen to it, and then we can say no after you've heard it. But once they sent me through the arrangement, and I listened to it in my house, and I started just singing it, I sort of forgot about how the original track sounded, and started to just vocally, it was just coming out differently in my voice, and it sounded very haunting, the way it was slowed down and very regretful and remorseful, and all of a sudden we have this like new song which is an homage to the original, but that was a really interesting challenge, and it came out well, and all of them had those moments. It was like,
right, where you're
wow,
like, is this, are we, we're finally getting there.
Yeah.
Would you say that's the one that you're most proud of on the album?
I mean, I love that track very much. I think it's come out really, really well. I mean, they all matter to me. They all come from somewhere in my life. Some of them remind me of amazing moments in my life, some not so great. All of them are about love in all the forms we have love, and finding it, keeping it, losing it, struggling to keep it, and breaking someone's heart. All those universal themes that we all struggle with in our lives, and enjoying and relishing love as well. I think Show Me Heaven is a really great track. Really, really great. It's really powerful. I also love With or Without You, which is one of the only tracks by a man, by Bono and U2. That was really fun to record because it's right up there vocally. It's at the top of my range. And I got to really push myself, and I like the version.
Yeah.
They all have a little moment which I'm very
They're
proud
all
of.
special. I have to tell you, my favorite was Always Remember Us This Way, and I love A Star Is Born.
Me too.
You're such a fan of the movie?
Fan. I mean, it was hard because I said if we're gonna do like an album that mainly about with women that we can see, I want to sing a Gaga song.
Yes.
I was like, come on, I'm gonna sing a Gaga song because I'm a huge fan of Gaga. I mean, so I left it with the record producer, and then he came back. He said we should do this because it's slightly country. It's got a bit of country. It's got a bit of rock and roll to it. And my voice sits very well in that kind of sound and that genre. So we recorded it, and we don't really sing it massively. I don't really sing it differently to Gaga. It's sort of the same sort of structure. Right. It was so fun to record. Ooh, I love it, and the lyrics
it's
are
so
beautiful.
Good. And then coming out hot, it's just like you put it and you start playing it, and it's just like so smooth.
Great.
So good.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more too about, you mentioned that you grew up listening to music and you were always involved in music. Do you have a memory? What's the very first time you performed in front of an audience publicly?
I would have probably sung in front of a talent competition when I was about 9 or 10 in the valleys where I lived, the South Wales valleys, little villages and working class villages, and I think I put my mum and dad put me up for a talent competition, and it was just singing, but everybody singing in the competition were in their 20s and 30s or late teens, and there was me. I was 10, and I remember singing I think it was Danny Boy, the Irish hymn, and I won £500, which was a huge amount of money. And I remember.
What was that feeling like after that? I mean, being a little kid.
It was great.
And
I became a little. People knew who I was. My mum and dad, the guy that played the piano in this rugby club where we did the final competition, he still asks about me now. He still talks to my dad if he sees my dad in the village. He's like, how's Luke doing? You remember when he won that £500? Oh yes, I was there. I was there when it started.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Did you like that video? You can check out more over here. And don't forget to subscribe to iHeart right here. And if you're already a longtime fan, make sure you ring the bell down below so you don't miss a single video. Bye guys.